Hey, what's up guys? Tato Khadebe here. Welcome back to my channel once again. If you're new, thank you very much for tuning in. And if you're already a subscribed member, thank you so much for the continued support. If you aren't a subscribed member, please do me a favor and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. It doesn't cost you anything and it'll help the channel to grow. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to speak to you guys for today. Okay, so for today's video, I just wanted to touch on the things that you should be looking out for if you are buying a diamond. So this topic kind of came out of a recent event that happened with one of my clients who recently bought a diamond from a diamond dealer, and he wanted me to use that diamond to be able to make him an engagement ring. So just a bit of a backstory. He's from Cape Town and I'm based in Johannesburg. So when he bought the diamond, he hadn't seen the diamond first before buying it. So he was kind of going on trust that the diamond dealer would be giving him something that is authentic. So he bought the diamond and he had the diamond sent to me. And when I received the diamond, he asked me, please, can I just have a look at the diamond and see if it is what he has paid for before we can proceed. So I told him, okay, it's not a problem. As soon as I receive it, I'll have a look and then I'll give you feedback as soon as I can. So the diamond arrives. I have a look at it with my loupe just to have an idea of what we're dealing with over here. And the worst thing that could happen happened. Just immediately when I opened the diamond, I could tell that this was not what he had paid for based on the certificate that he had sent to me. Because with every diamond that you get, especially if it's over half a carat, you should in essence be getting a diamond certificate, which gives you all the information, you know, the cut, the color, clarity, and the carat. That information should be on that certificate, and based on what the certificate had said, we were supposed to be dealing with a D-colored stone, which was 0.78 carats if I'm not mistaken, and the color D, and the clarity was a VS1. So looking at the stone, I could immediately tell that this was not a color D. So the color grading in terms of diamonds, D would be your most, that's the first color, that's the clearest of the colors. So D, and it goes all the way up. And the higher up you go on the color grading, the yellower the stone becomes, right? So looking at the stone, immediately I could tell this was definitely not a color D. And if it was a color D with a VS1, with that the size of stone, if it's a 0.78, that would have been quite an expensive stone, right? And you know, colored Ds are hard to come by because of how rare they are. I mean, the D color is quite it's a clear stone, and to be able to find that would be, it's not impossible, but if you do find that, you'd be paying quite a hefty price. So looking at the stone, I could tell that no, this was definitely not a D. It looked more towards the, you know, K spectrum because it was yellow. It had a yellowish tinge to it. In terms of it being a VS1, I wasn't convinced with that at all, because looking at the stone with my naked eye, I could already see that it had inclusions on the inside. So inclusions are basically, they look like little black marks on the inside of a stone, on the inside of a diamond. And the more inclusions there are in a stone, the less rare it is. So stones that do not have any inclusions at all would be characterized as VVS 1 or VVS 2, which stands for very, very slightly included. And then when you get VS, that stands for very slightly included. And then slightly included would be SI, which is what I thought the stone was. I thought it was an SI and not a VS1. And of course, the most perfect of the stones, which again is a very rare thing to find, would be IF, which is internally flawless. those stones are almost impossible to find. If you find an IF stone, chances are it might be lab grown, because lab grown diamonds do not have inclusions because they do not come from the earth. So inclusions are just the internal things that happen as the stone is being formed underground. So the stone that my client sent to me was definitely not a D. For me, I would say it was a, as I say, K color. It was definitely not a VS1. I would say it was an SI. You know, it's got some inclusions inside there. The size of the stone, you know, the carat being 0.78, that was true. And yeah, so it was definitely not what is written on the certificate. So I'll have the certificate up on the screen so that you can see what the diamond dealer had said my client's stone was. Cool, so I get it. So obviously me looking at it, I could tell that this is not what I thought it was, but I thought, you know what, I'm gonna have it tested at work so we can have a look in our gemology studio, just have a look at what it is. So upon further investigation, looking at it, the gemology lecturer that I work with also confirmed that no, it's definitely not what the client paid for. So, you know, there's a lot of various things that you do. We tested using our spectroscope, polariscope to see if what it looks like under UV light. We tested we test its density, because density also plays a big role in order to know, because diamond's density obviously is different from any other stone. If it was a fake stone, the density would be different, of course. So based on what we had kind of seen, it was definitely not what he had paid for. But the good news is that it is a diamond, okay? So looking at it, it is a diamond, but it's not what he had paid for. So now I call my client and I tell him, this is what the situation is. And of course, he's very disappointed, because now this is gonna put up a block on his plans, what he wanted to do. So he was coming to Joburg in a few days. So we met up and I brought the stone just to show him, for him to have a look. And even when he looked at it, you know, he's not a jeweler or a diamond dealer or anything like that, but he could also see immediately the inclusions without a doubt. And you know, the stone, as I said, had a yellow tinge to it. I also forgot to mention it was quite cloudy, you know, so it was definitely not what he was sold. So his plan was he wanted to call the guys and let them know, no, this is not what I paid for. Can I have my money back? But he also was like, instead of him getting his money back, maybe he can have it swapped out for something else. I said to him, anything that he would like to do is fine, just as long as he doesn't keep the stone, because he's now gonna be taking a loss based on what his plans are. So he's basically, right now he's busy looking to be able to get the stone sent back to this diamond dealer so that he can get his money back, or if at the very least he can get it swapped out so that he can get an even better stone. So when this whole thing is kind of concluded, that's when I thought to myself, this is actually a teachable moment that I could basically do a video and kind of let you guys know the kind of things that you should be looking out for should you be in the market to buy diamonds for whatever jewelry piece that you're going to be making, or that you're going to be needing for that piece. So I've got a list that we can kind of go through right now, and hopefully this will help you in your purchasing decisions when it is time for you to make that call to buy a diamond. So the number one thing that you want to do when dealing with diamonds is always make sure that you can see the stone before you buy it. So of course, for my client, it was difficult for him to be able to see the stone because of where he was. But maybe what he could have done is maybe ask somebody who is nearby to go and have a look at the stone to see if what they can identify is the real stone or not. If the stone is what they think it is, then they can relay it back to the client so that it is somebody that they can trust, okay? as much as you possibly can, see the stone before making the purchase. If you can't see it, rather leave it alone. That would be number one. Number two, if you are going to be buying a stone, and let's say you've done the number one, you've seen the stone, always ask for the certificate, okay? So in my client's case now, he was sent a certificate, but he wasn't even sent a picture of the stone, which makes it even worse. He was just sent the certificate and, it gave all the fake information, which was not what the stone actually was. So when you do go and buy a stone, have it in front of you and then ask, okay, can I see the certificate? The company that I get the certificates for, the ones that I trust the most would be GIA. If it's a GIA approved stone, it is 100% conflict free. It is 100% natural. It's something that you can definitely trust. So if it's a GIA approved stone, you're definitely good to go, especially if the picture matches what the information on the certificate say, then you're definitely good to go. Number three, you always want to go and visit your jeweler or your diamond dealer. The reason why you're going to do that is that way you'll be able to have a look and you can judge for yourself to see, okay, am I being taken for a ride over here? If I can see that, okay, there is a workshop, or I can see that maybe there are a bunch of microscopes and a bunch of polariscopes and refractometers, all of those things would make you feel a bit more at ease that the thing that I'm walking into here is the real deal. Because I think if somebody's going to go to the extent of trying to fake being a jeweler, then they've got a lot of time on their hands, number one. And I don't know if people would go to the extent to try and necessarily, get, you never know. I mean, this is the world that we're living in. But at least if you see something like that, and maybe you've gotten some word of mouth from other people that have worked with them, then you can rest assured that, okay, this seems like it's a legit setup, so I can trust these people with my money, and what they're telling me is true. Okay, that goes also to, as I said, to your jeweler that is making your piece for you. If they claim to be a custom jeweler who makes pieces, go to their space, have a look, see what's happening around. If you can see that they have a bench, you can see that they have equipment around, and you can see that there's maybe activity, people are working, then you can rest assured that you won't be taken for a ride. Number four, if you are based in South Africa, check to see if the diamond dealer or the jeweler that you're going to is registered or is a member of the South African Jewelry Council. So this is not a be all and end all. Being a member of the Jewelry Council just gives your business more validity, because the council is obviously the body that overlooks and runs the jewelry industry in the country. So if you're a member of that and you put that up on your website, or you put that up on your social media, or even in your office, you get a certificate and you put it up, then you know that you are 100%, the person that you are dealing with is 100% certified, because the Jewelry Council does do a vetting process and to check if you are really a jeweler or not. So having that certificate or having that peace of mind, if you can see them on the website, then you know that you are 100% dealing with the real deal. That will sort of ease any sort of suspicion that you might have. But as I said, it's not the be all and end all, because there are some jewelers maybe that are starting out that haven't kind of registered yet with the Jewelry Council, but it doesn't mean that they're legit, that they aren't legit. Okay, so that one is a little bit on edge, but if they are on the members list, then you can rest assured that they are good, that they're good people, and you're good to go. And then lastly, when you are going to be buying a diamond, we all have access to the internet. We all have access to Google. So do your own research. Do your own research about the 4 C's. The 4 C's being cut, clarity, color, and carat. When we talk about cut, we're talking about all the different shapes that comes with the diamond. So again, this information is found in the certificate that we mentioned earlier on. So Whatever the cut is, you just have to do your research and see, okay, these are the various cuts that we have within the stone, or the various cuts that are available. If the cut matches what is said on the certificate, you're good. That's the first C. Second C being your clarity. Clarity being when you're looking at the stone, does it have any inclusions? Is the stone cloudy? So the inclusions, as I said, would be those internal marks that you see, those internal black marks that you see within the stone. If there are inclusions, it needs to be stated on the certificate itself. How much of the inclusions are there? So if there are a lot of inclusions, it'll probably be an SI, which is not as valuable as, let's say, a VVS1 or a VS1 or VS2, because those ones have less inclusions within them. And then number 3 being your color. So as I said, it starts from D and it goes all the way up. So if you are gonna have, for instance, a color N, that would be a very yellow stone, as opposed to, let's say, an EFG color, which is more on the clearer side. So when you start from D, those are your completely clear ones, all the way up. As I said, you can get to N, LM, and so on. Those would be the ones that are more yellow. That also happens based on what happens underground. So you do get naturally yellow stones, natural yellow, fancy yellow diamonds. Those are not graded the same way as your white diamonds. So the white diamonds are the ones that are graded in this color grading. But if you can get the fancy yellows, and you can get pink diamonds, you can get all different types. Those are obviously more rare and more expensive than the white ones, but we are not dealing with those at the moment. And then the last one being your carat. So carat weight being, when we talk about carat, we are talking about the weight of the stone. In this case being a 0.78 carat diamond, or a 70 pointer, if we're gonna call it. So if I say it's a 50 pointer, I mean it's 0.5 carats. If I say it's a 60 pointer, 0.6 carats, and so on. So that is basically the weight of the stone. That you can't, as somebody who's trying to swindle someone, it's quite difficult to get around that, because you can see with your eye if somebody claims that a stone is a 0.8 carat, and then you can see how small, again, based on the research that you've done, you can see yourself like, no ways, this is definitely not a 0.8, or whatever the case might be. So you just have to be aware of those kinds of things before making any purchases. So if you look at those 5 things, you should be on your way to making better decisions. Of course, the best thing would be, for instance, in my business, I'm happy for a client to say they want to give me the stone to work with. I'm happy to do that. But because I don't know what the stone would be, the client will tell me what the stone is, but sometimes you might find that the stone isn't what you assume it is. And then things could happen where you might crack the stone or something like that. So to avoid any of that, I tend to want to do my own sourcing of the stones. Of course, I'll let the client know, here's the stones that I found, which ones are you happy with? Can we go with this one, and so on. Once you're happy, then of course we can continue. And that just makes the process a lot easier. But as I said, I am not opposed to clients giving me their own stones to work with. One, it is a lot more affordable for you to do that, because you don't have to incur the cost of now having to find another stone and add that cost onto the manufacturing of your piece. So anything like that works, as long as you are happy as the client, I'm also happy. So those are just kind of the ideas, or the advice that I can give to you kind of moving forward, should you want to be buying any stones, just so that you are able to make an informed decision. It would be so unfortunate that mistakes like this keep happening, especially with there's so much information that is out there that you can kind of lean on to be able to make the right decisions. All you have to do is just kind of give yourself some time, sit on the internet and just research, see what is out there, and the decisions that you make will be a lot wiser. Okay, so that's basically the story. we haven't made the decision of what we're going to do yet, or what the client is what has happened with this, getting rid of the stone and getting a new one. As soon as that happens, then obviously we'll move forward. But for right now, he's still in the process of trying to get that process going. Hopefully he will be able to get his money back, and then we can kind of go the process of me being able to source the stone, and then we can go ahead and get the ring done for him. So hopefully this helps. If it helps, a few of you out there, that would make me even happier. Let's make some wise decisions, and everything should work out great at the end of the day. So just be careful. There's a lot of tricksters and a lot of people out there who do not have the best interest of anyone at heart, and I'm going to take it upon myself, if I can, to educate as much as I can, so that you also don't get swindled the same way as my client got swindled. So that would be the end of the video for right now. If this is something that is interesting to you and it's helped you, please feel free to drop me a like down below. Please do also comment if there's anything that you'd like to ask, and I'll be more than happy to answer the questions for you. So until we do meet again, thank you very much for tuning in to this video, and we will see each other in a very short time. Peace.